this is just a really good exercise of figuring out, like, get a solid idea in your head of who your ideal customer is. Every time you're working on your game, just think about that person. Think about how much they're gonna love your game. Think about how both of you would be so excited because they're like, yes, I want this game so bad, and you're like, yes, I want to sell it to you so bad. So I've been writing a lot about marketing lately on my blog, and I have a blog post that is related to this video in the description below if you want to check it out, if you prefer to read. And I wanted to start with basically how to find who wants to buy your game, how to find your target audience for your game so that all the marketing that you do is directed to the right people. So I put together 5 steps for you to do in order to figure out who your market is. The first thing is identify the genre of your game. And I think there's 3 major parts to what your genre actually is. First of all, it's your game dynamics or your game mechanics. So is it 2D, is it 3D, is it a mobile game, is it a platformer, is it a roguelike, is it an arcade game? Like, just describe all of those game dynamic aspects, and I'm sure you know that already, but get it down there. It's the baseline of your game pretty much. The next part is to identify the story or the game feel that you want to portray in your game. So some games I know don't have stories, and that's totally fine, but sort of identify how you want your player to feel while playing the game. So is it a relaxing arcade game, or is it kind of like a mysterious story, or is it fantastical, or is it heartwarming, or, you know, just figure out how that feeling is. So and write down all the words and all the ideas that you can think of when it comes to your game's story and feel. The third part of your genre would be your art. And again, it's like, are you trying to convey something whimsical or something very clean and minimal, or are you into, like, you know, the retro wave or cyberpunk, or is it like old school or retro? Like, just think about how the art in your game is or how you want it to be, and write down all those different themes that you can think of. And so once you have those 3 things, you'll have your whole genre of your game, and this is going to help you in the next step. So step 2 is find related games. Probably something you've done already, but I'm going to elaborate it a bit more based on the 3 things that you listed before. So I think for each aspect of your genre, you should find up to 3 games that are similar. For an example, my game is a 2D side-scroller platformer with hand-painted art, kind of a fantasy and feel-good setting for the story. Similar games to the game dynamics would be things like Ori and the Blind Forest or Donkey Kong Country, like a standard side-scroller platformer. Similar games to the story would be, I think Flower is very similar. And then so similar art is Braid, for example. Very similar art to the art that I'm doing in my game. So list as many games as you can that are related to all the different aspects of your genre. Third step is to find sister genres that are outside of gaming that relate to your genre. Try to think of movies and books and even like tabletop games or animes, or even just like art styles or music that is very similar to whatever you're trying to communicate in your game. So for me, I know I'm very influenced by Studio Ghibli films like Nausicaa Valley of the Wind, and also The Secret World of Arrietty, and then also some themes from Star Trek are in there, and some themes from Avatar, the movie, just different things like that. So those are things that I would add to my list of media influences. The fourth thing that you should do to find your audience is find where the audience of these different media are online. So maybe it's a subreddit for the Avatar movie. Maybe it's a Discord channel for the Braid game. Maybe it's a YouTube game review, indie game review channel where everyone's talking in the comments. Maybe it's a Twitter hashtag or an Instagram hashtag. So start looking at the online communities that surround the other media that's similar to your genre, and you will find people who are interested in similar things to what your game is or what your game is going to be. So as part of that, you should join these communities. Start talking to these people. I assume that if this media, these different books and movies and genres match your game, that you are likely interested in them too. So participate in these communities, talk to the people, see what they like about the games, and see what they like about the books and movies, and just collect that information, okay? Collect as many comments you can about the games that are related to yours. Collect articles that people write appraising different movies that are similar to your style, and just collect as much information as you can about all of these different things, because they will all help you triangulate down on the things that people like about those. If you can include those into your game, you can really build something that will touch on all of these different genres and niches. So the last thing to do, and this sort of comes a little bit after you've been spending time in these communities, talking to these people and collecting comments and data and interesting points and reviews. The last thing to do is to create what in the marketing industry is called personas. So a persona is kind of like a generalized stereotypical person that you create, and you sort of build a little profile for this person. And I think you should create maybe 3 personas, or actually as many as you want, but at least 2 or 3 personas of people who would be interested in all of these different genres that will pinpoint and kind of scope them down into yours. Something that you would include in a persona is the name of the person. You can make up a name, their age, their gender, their job, or if they're in school, what they would be studying, their favorite movies and games and books, their favorite foods even, what they like to do, and then also things that bother them or current obsessions they have, what their goals would be, like what drives them, and what they feel like they need more of in life. So you can kind of like create a little character, and this is sort of like the ideal person who would fall in love with your game. Even better, what you can do is find some of the comments and feedback from other media that you found. Find those comments and you can attach them to these people. Even if you find someone on Twitter who fits this persona exactly, like in this document that you're creating for the persona, put some Twitter handles of people in there who you feel would really relate to this. Just get as much information as you can about these people. The real important thing about doing all this is to get a solid idea in your head about who really wants to buy your game. And this can sit in your head as you're building your game or as you're marketing your game, depending on where you are in the process, and really help direct you to use the terminology that these people would respond best to, or to incorporate different aspects of your game that these people seem to really like in the other media that you identify it with. So it'll really help you direct not only your actual game if you're still in development, but also the way you speak and the different kinds of communities that you can share this in. I mean, there's so many other ways of accessing. Once you have these communities sort of built out in your mind and you know where these people live on the internet, you can start to plant seeds. You can start to meet people. You can start making friends in these communities and really get to know them. And maybe when your game is ready, you can start to share it with a few people in these different communities and just see how it goes and get more feedback that way. So this is just a really good exercise of figuring out, like, get a solid idea in your head of who your ideal customer is. Every time you're working on your game, just think about that person. Think about how much they're gonna love your game. Think about how both of you would be so excited because they're like, yes, I want this game so bad, and you're like, yes, I want to sell it to you so bad, and how exciting that kind of a connection with a person is. And then realize that there are thousands and thousands of people out there just like your ideal persona. Trust me, there are. You built them off of real people that you've seen all around the internet, and know that your market's out there waiting, and that it's not gonna be that difficult to find them, because now you know where they are, and now you know what they like, and now you know what drives them, and all you gotta do is meet them. Okay, I hope that was helpful. As I said, I linked blog post about the same topic below with more concrete examples. So let me know how it goes if you go and build some personas. I would love to see your personas, or I'd love to hear about things that your game is related to. So leave a comment below with any ideas that you have for your own personas, for your own game, or tell me the genre of your game. There's so much stuff, so comment below anything like that. If this was helpful for you, give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe, I'm going to be releasing more content based on marketing these days, just because I just feel like it's super interesting. So I'll have devlogs and marketing. It's kind of an interesting combination, but it's what I'm like finding is kind of exciting for me. So I hope you like it, and I hope it helped, and I'll see you on the internet.